because it involves many different agencies and different things that have happened over the years, and it's one of the worst things that have happened. It's the fake charities thing.
Oh.
We all know that there are agencies out there who
Yes.
who give kids trips to Disney World.
Wish-a-wish, or Make-A-Wish.
Make-A-Wish. Actually, not Wish-A-Wish.
Wish-a-wish was something else.
Make-A-Wish. And it's a good thing that you point out, actually it was kind of neat that you made that little slip, right? Because if I told you something that sounded kind of like Make-A-Wish,
Yeah, like Wish-a-wish.
yeah, would you, oh, okay, that's just another charity that sends kids to Disney World. Well, apparently, after Make-A-Wish, a lot of these charities did come out doing a very similar thing, right?
Well, of course.
Getting kids to meet famous people, or, having Spider-Man come, or whatever.
Awesome.
Yes, awesome, great, ideal. But not all of them are equally trustworthy. Okay. So there have been, and I was actually kind of amazed that there are 2 major cases of this going on in 2015. Not small cases. We're talking some of the largest ever.
This year.
Just this year. And I hadn't heard of them. I mean, I hadn't heard this was going on. Yeah, so that, as I said, when I started reading, I was like, oh, okay, this is one of those old cases. I remember hearing about that back in the day. Wait, this is 2015. This is September.
So this stuff continues to this day.
It's still going on. It just shows you how diligent you have to be when you're giving to charity. But, so let me cover some of these. There's, the first one was actually described by some folks as being one of the largest and most egregious cases that they know of ever of charity scams. We're talking millions. So there is a cluster of charities that were all started by one guy, and and grew, and he involved members of his family and so forth, and branched out to other charities. And these are I want to give the right names and everything, but the CCFOA, which
Kafka.
is no, it's the Children's Cancer Foundation of America.
Oh, CCFO.
Okay, and then there's the BCS. Let me make sure I give you the right name because I don't want to mess up. Breast Cancer Society.
So long story short, there's a lot of different illegitimate.
But they all belong to the same little group. And you'll notice, did you notice when I was saying the names, how similar they sounded to? So the Breast Cancer Society is kind of like, they want you to, they're kind of following in the track, like the Coleman breast cancer thing.
Yeah.
And also the American Cancer Society. But this charity is not in any way associated with those, okay? But they intentionally sound as much like them as they can, because that way, when they call on you for donations, you think that you're talking to a legitimate charity. Now they were technically, they were a legal charity. They had the right to call themselves a charity. They filed taxes as such and so forth. It's just that they were one of the worst charities imaginable.
So did they not make a lot of money?
Well, no. When the BBB or some of these other companies, when they rate charities, the way they rate them is based on the amount of money that they raise that actually goes to whatever the cause is.
So when the ratio of money in to money to cause is correct, they give them a good rating, and if it's very bad, obviously bad rating.
And if it's high enough, it probably should be investigated for fraud. And yes, and this was a case where just an incredibly low percentage. In one case, less than 3% of the money they brought in went to patients.
So 3 cents of every dollar.
Yeah.
That doesn't do a lot.
No. The Cancer Fund of America, according to the government, according to the claims that the government is making against them, they stole $18 million.
$18 million they stole.
What's interesting about that case, now 2 of the cancers have been shut down, the children's cancer and breast cancer
The charities.
were
Not
shut
cancer
down.
itself.
No, you wish. The people who were heading those were friends, relatives of him.
Makes sense.
So Rose Perkins and James Reynolds the second, James Reynolds the second.
The second.
Don't want to name someone who's not actually involved. James Reynolds the second and Rose Perkins just agreed to never take charge of a charity again and close their foundations down, and so they would have been ordered to pay back the money, but it was found that most of the money had been spent, so there was no money to pay back with. The third charity, though, is run by the father, who was the guy who originated all of these charities in the first place, and he is fighting the charges. He's saying he's not guilty of anything. Maybe they mishandled some funds or something, but he
mishandled some funds.
Yeah, but they may be a bad charity, but they're not criminal. Blah blah blah. So he's fighting it.
Obviously, highly debatable in his case, or in his thought process.
Yeah, his thought process is not up there. Now, here's some interesting information about him, which I found out in a completely different article. While I was looking up this stuff, I happened to find one. James Reynolds, the father, had a job at the American Cancer Society.
Okay.
So he did used to work for a legitimate cancer charity. He didn't work at the national office. But he was head of one of the regional offices or something like that. But the American Cancer Society fired him. Why? Sloppy bookkeeping and
sloppy bookkeeping.
Go figure, right? Sloppy bookkeeping, and they accused him of stealing a car that had been donated to be auctioned off for the charity. Now he denied that he stole the car and everything, but they let him go. So that's when he started his own charity. So, not only was he involved in that case, but they'd previously been investigated, this charity, and at one point they had to pay $525,000 for lying to their donors. So this is not new. It's known. The authorities have been aware of them for a while, and all of the various charity rating organizations have given them very, very low scores.
Of course.
Children's Cancer Foundation of America. Gosh, that's such a long name. Promised kids Disney trips and things, and along with treatment and transportation and stuff, and they never gave anyone any of those trips. So, not too bad. Now, at one time they were named among the 100 worst charities in America. And along with them were a couple other charities that also promise kids trips to Disney World. The Kids Wish Network and the Children's Wish Foundation International. Now, neither of those have been named as criminal organizations. They haven't, as far as we know, stolen anything or anything like that. But they're listed as among the worst charities in America because so little of the money donated actually goes to the charity. So, but we don't want to confuse Kids Wish Network with
Make-A-Wish. Okay.
So that's why I pointed that out. I just thought that was really important. And if you want to get a look at that list of America's worst charities, it's at tampabay.com/America's Worst Charities. And that's where you can find that. Okay, so there was another case, which is just, you would think, well, that's enough. I mean, 3 major charities right there. But there's another one called the National Children's Leukemia Foundation. Now, this one's right here in New York. Okay. It had...
Wow.
Yeah. It'll make you feel great.
Yeah.
Proud of our state. The National Children's Leukemia Foundation claimed it had a bone marrow registry and a research building. And it put pictures of these things, supposedly, that they had on their website.
Doesn't exist.
Not at all. There's just no such thing at all. And they never did. In fact, they said, well, the extent of his bone marrow registry was that he encouraged people to give blood.
give blood.
Yeah.
Not even give marrow.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I imagine he encouraged them to do both.
But still.
That's like a registry, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I'd probably have more of a registry if I just put our names on a piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly. You could have a whole Rolodex and just write names on it, and that'd be just as good. Okay, there were another one of those ones with the really bad Charity Watch rating. 80% of the $9.7 million collected went to fundraising. Okay.
80% of the $9.7 million.
Yes.
That's a bad way to spend your money.
Now, again, this is one of those ones. It has not gone through the courts yet. He's being sued by the Attorney General.
Wow.
Yeah, he's being sued. So what part of what the Attorney General is saying is that only 57,451. I mean, that's a pretty precise number. I'm sure where it's coming from. But $57,451 went to patients.
So less than 60,000.
So of that 80%, nowhere near the 20% that was left over was not going to the patients. 57,000 of 9.7 million. Where did it go to? Well, according to the Attorney General, he got $595,000 that he paid himself. Yeah.
What?
And that's a cash salary. He also got a little over that same amount in deferred income and a promise of $100,000 a year annual salary. But the patients got $57,451.
Well, he's living comfortable.
Well, he may not for long. He is being sued by the Attorney General. When the Attorney General for your entire state is after you, that may not be a good thing. Now,
probably not.
They pulled in that $9.7 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would think they'd have a lavish office, you know, a big parking lot.
Travel trailer.
His basement. He was
That's what
operating
you
out
call
of his basement.
a home-based business.
Now, what's really interesting is, now this is, again, Attorney General is saying this, hasn't been adjudicated yet, but they said that he was no longer the president of that company because Mr. Shore, the man who started the company, had been convicted of bank fraud in 1999, and they were afraid that that would have some effect on the charity, so he stepped aside as president. The financial officer stepped up to be the president, and then some other guys, the bankkeeper became the new financial officer. But according to the Attorney General, what he's saying is really the guy was still in charge, that the guy who they said was the president didn't even know who the officers of the charity were and so forth. So in other words, it's all just shuffling paperwork around to make it look.
Of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a guy who was convicted of bank fraud in 1999, yet he's running a million, several $1 million charity. And wouldn't you know, he too had a make a dream come true component of his charity.
Make a dream come true. Where does that sound familiar?
Yes. So he was telling people that he was sending kids to the Disney program. And here's the deal. He still had it on his website. They were still pushing it. They were still getting funds based on this ideal of giving kids their dreams. But they had spent $0 on the program since 2009.
That was a while ago.
So that's like 6 years. And only $7,866 on the program in the entire year before that. Which is what, one or two kids?
At the most.
1 or 2 kids. I mean, even if Disney offered them great discounts and so forth, you're not going to bring a family, a disabled child and their family to Disney for doing the trip. $7,000. $866.
Not for a long one anyway. Maybe
So,
overnight.
my guess is, yeah, he made a couple of Disney trips so he could film them, take pictures of it, and put it on his website, and then, yeah. So that is a pretty egregious,
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
pretty scummy thing for these charities to be doing. So, you know, what's the recommendation to avoid being taken advantage of in this way? I mean, well, the advice that they're giving, the BBB, the Better Business Bureau, advises check with them first of all. They actually do rate a lot of these things on their website. There's also several websites and organizations that do checks for these, rate the charities, so they'll let you know how much of the money they bring in actually goes to pay for the services that they say they offer, and whether they reveal information. And one of the things that they pointed out, the BBB pointed out, was that one of the companies, specifically on the website, on the Charity Watch website and on the BBB website and so forth, said they don't reveal their information.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a big red flag. Why would any charity not want to tell you
How
much they're spending?
Usually kind of.
They usually brag about that, right? They're like, we spent $8 million last year, blah, blah, blah. These guys are saying, I'm not going to tell you. So that should be a big...
Why don't you want to?
Because we're spending it on new cars. So that's a big red flag. Don't, you know, look out for that. Go to those websites. There's a whole bunch of them. We should probably put those links for them below. But here's some of them. The BBB, Wise Giving Alliance, you can just type that into Google and it'll come right up. Charity Navigator, that's one I've used a few times. Charity Watch is another one I've used. And there's one called GuideStar. So you can just type those into Google, they'll pop right up, and then you can enter the name of whatever charity you want, and it will tell you what their rating is and why. So before you give to anybody, check with that. Anybody who calls your house and puts the heavy pressure on. One of the things they're saying, like in the second one, the Leukemia Foundation, that 80% of the 9.7 is going to fundraising. So think about that. They are professional fundraisers. That's all they do. They get on the phone and they call people and they harass them and they keep at it and they keep at it and they keep at it until you give. They will get as much as they can out of you. And as the BBB said, they go back to the same person again and again, because once you've given once, your name goes on a list as a giver, and they're going to keep calling you back. And as they said, a lot of times they go to elderly folks who are home all day, so they're there to answer the phone, and in some cases the people who that they're calling over and over are people who are maybe not fully alert. And in some of the cases that the Attorney General was talking about, the people don't even seem to really be aware of what's going on. So they're being hit up for money, and they don't really understand what they're giving money to in the first place, let alone that they're being scammed this way.
Yeah.
So that's pretty scummy. Now, I think the biggest thing that we need to really hit on this is we don't want to take away from the real charities.
Of course.
Right. The American Cancer Society is a legitimate cancer research and education organization. They're very, very important out there. Make-A-Wish is an excellent organization. They do good work. The Ronald McDonald House, which was actually mentioned in this article specifically, is an excellent charity. There's a small village, I forgot the name of it, there in Florida that houses a lot of these families when they come there for their Make-A-Wish and similar type, charitable visits to Disney World, and it's a very nice place. And so I don't want people to stop giving to charity. It's very important that we make that clear.
Yes.
Not all charities are like this.
You just make sure you give them to the right ones.
Yes, just be careful. Check the charity out. And the best thing is to not give money to anybody who calls you. Yeah. You call them. You decide in advance what you want to give and who you want to give it to and why you want to give it. Then you contact them through their website or on the phone and you donate.
Yeah.
And those people that call up and they start heavy pressuring you, as soon as you hang up, call the Better Business Bureau. So, because they don't know that they're out there harassing people. unless they get complaints.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the end of 6, that's the end of my little speech on that one, but that ticks me off, especially when it comes to the cancer.
Yeah, it gets bad.
You know, we have more than the usual reason to be pissed off about that, so.
Yeah, hits close to home.
Okay.